The legendary Roman Baths of Bath are some of the best preserved Roman baths in the entire world. Throughout ancient Rome, there were many Roman baths, but only a few have survived all these centuries later. Historians believe that this particular one was built around 70 AD. But why did the Romans build their baths exactly here? Well, because they found this weird, hot, bubbly water shooting up out of the ground.
After all, if you see hot water coming out of the ground...
It seems strange.
It does,
yeah.
yes. It's something for which they had no natural explanation. So therefore, the reason was obvious.
Sacred.
It must be the work of the gods.
But the Romans weren't the first to recognize the magical hot springs as the work of the gods. They kind of stole this spot from a Celtic tribe. Before the Romans invaded Britain, the Celts were already worshipping their goddess named Sulis at this spot. Then, once the Romans took over, they renamed that goddess Sulis Minerva. Now, do we have any statues to Sulis here?
Well, there's a golden head of her statue, which is on display in the museum.
Interesting.
And it's unusual in that it's one of only 3 gilt bronze statues known from Britain, and they're pretty rare throughout the whole of the Roman Empire, really. Apart from the head of Minerva, the only 2 gilt bronze objects from Britain are a golden arm from London and a golden leg from the Scottish border. So that's it.
Put them all together, you have half a person, almost half a god.
It's rather strange, yes.
So at these pools or baths, the Romans would worship Sulis Minerva and, on occasion, ask her to do some really mean things to their neighbors.
All kinds of objects were thrown into the spring. One of the special things was what we now call curse tablets, which are small sheets of lead with messages to the goddess written on them. It's quite interesting to see what they say.
What did they say?
Well, a lot of the time they're looking for the goddess's help in restoring a wrong. And if they've had something stolen, they want to help getting it back. So Docimedis had 2 gloves stolen. Modest thing, but he wanted the goddess's help to get his gloves back.
Why not?
That's fine.
Why not?
But he also wanted the person who'd stolen them to lose both his mind and his eyes.
Well, that's not very nice. But on a much lighter note, the Roman baths were also just a really nice place to hang out. When you think of a modern-day spa, you know it's a place to go to relax and rejuvenate. But for the ancient Romans, the spa, or the baths, were believed to be sacred, created by the gods, and therefore a place to worship the gods. But let's be honest, there was a little socializing going on back then, too. Just like our spas and pools of today, people would come to the Roman baths to swim, relax, and schmooze. And they did all this in many different chambers within the bath complex. The West Baths, the East Baths, the Great Bath, all made possible by some savvy engineering skills. The Romans simply used gravity to direct the water from the springs through pipes under the floor like these into the different bath chambers. Other tubes carried hot air into the walls and under the floors, to keep the Romans' little toesies warm when they got out of the pool.